Welcome students to the second part of the endogenetic chapter. Previously we have learned about the slow movements, but today we are going to study about the sudden movements, which are earthquakes and volcanoes, which take place in the earth's interior in detail. So students, today our learning objectives will be sudden movements. Now, what is sudden movement, students? Sudden movements are caused by sudden endogenetic forces which are coming from deep within the earth, which are very sudden and rapid, that cause massive destructions at and below the earth's surface. Sudden movements are of two types, like earthquakes and volcanoes. Earthquakes. Now, what are earthquakes, students? An earthquake is an sudden shaking movement of the surface of the earth. And in earthquakes, we are going to study about the causes of earthquakes, focus on epicenter, seismic waves and their types, seismograph, effects of earthquakes. And second, volcanoes. What are volcanoes, students? A mountain with large circular hole at the top through which lava, gases, steam and dust are or have been forced out to escape from a magma chamber below the surface of the earth. Volcanoes are of two types, that is central type or conical volcano, fissure type volcanoes and effects of volcanoes. Sudden movements are caused by sudden endogenetic forces coming from deep within the earth, which bring abrupt changes on the earth's surface. Sudden movements like earthquakes and volcanoes cause mass destruction over the surface of the earth. Earthquakes and volcanic eruptions are the best example of these movements. The changes are so sudden that a part of land may be fractured, river may change its course, and a new land features may be formed due to lava eruption. Earthquake is a sudden shaking movement of the surface of the earth. Earthquake is the combination of two words, that is, earth means ground and quake means trembling. Earthquake is the movement of the earth crust resulting of a sudden release of energy in the form of waves. It is one of the most worst natural disaster. The magnitude of the earthquake, that is, magnitude means the measure of energy released during the earthquake. There are several different ways to measure magnitude, but most common magnitude measure is Richter scale. So students, I will like you to show a video of introduction to earthquake. Our planet Earth is a unique planet. Our Earth is a very rugged place. Students, here rugged means that is have broken into rock and uneven surface. Our Earth is made up of massive mountains of rock and ice. You can see this in this video, students. It also has flat plains and forested hills. It also has busy cities and ocean floor. The trouble is that our Earth's crust is cracked. And these cracks extend below the sea and across the land. And this is because of the faults which are caused by our crust tectonic plates, which are being ripped apart and crush together. When these titanic forces reach the breaking point, splash, there is an earthquake. It is a trembling and shaking of ground. It is the event of nature which can occur anywhere on the surface of our planet, causing hundreds and thousands of people being killed, causing injuries, destruction, and enormous damage to life and property. We can say that earthquake is a great and terrifying phenomena of the earth. Earthquake is sudden violent shaking of the ground due to internal movements in the earth crust. Earthquake occurs because of many reasons. Some of them are: first one, moving of the plates. When plates move, they release energy in the form of waves which can cause earthquakes. Second, colliding of the plates. These moving plates collide and such a collision can cause earthquakes. Plates sliding one below the other. That is, when plates collide and one plate slides under the other, it can also cause energy release leading to earthquakes. Forming of fractures in rock layers. When tensions accumulates on the layer of rock, it eventually creates fractures on it, and that can cause earthquake. Occurring of volcanic eruption. Volcanic eruptions release shock waves which can cause earthquakes. Due to the internal movements occurring below the earth's surface, tension is created and it keeps on accumulating. High energy is released at the place where this tension mounts up, and it is known as the focus or hypocenter of the earthquake. Energy waves scatter in all directions from this center. The place of the earth's surface where these energy waves reach first is called the epicenter of the earthquake. It is the nearest place on the earth's surface from the focus, and it experiences the first tremor. Thus, the epicenter is perpendicular to the focus. A seismograph is the device that scientists use to measure earthquake. The goal of a seismograph is to accurately record the motion of the ground during an earthquake. They are held in a very solid position, either on the bedrock or on a concrete base. The seismic waves are recorded by this instrument. The instrument is simply vibrating rod on a pen or a pendulum which starts vibrating. When tremors occur, a pen or a marker is attached to the rotating drum. The pen then records the seismic waves on a paper which moves. So students, we can see that the pendulum tip records the earthquake on a graph sheet. In this activity, we have seen the recording of seismic waves caused by the earthquake. Seismic waves are the waves of energy caused by the sudden breaking of rock within the earth or an explosion. They are the energy that travels through the earth and is recorded on seismograph. Earthquake waves are known as seismic waves. Seismic waves are of different kinds and they all move in different direction. The seismic waves can be divided into mainly three types, that is primary waves, secondary waves and surface waves. Primary waves, this is the first one. These are the first one to reach the surface of the earth after the energy is emitted in the earth's interior. They travel at a very fast speed from the focus of the earthquake. The wave moves to and fro, therefore, these waves are also called forward and backward waves. These waves can travel through all three states, that is, liquid, solid, and gaseous. But while traveling through the liquid medium, their direction gets changed. It is because of the primary waves that the buildings on the Earth's surface move back and forth. Children, you can see in this video, the primary waves moves between 4 to 7 km per second, depending upon the density of the rock it's moving. Primary wave is a compression type of wave. Rocky material in this direction of travel compresses then expands as the wave passes. Primary wave is similar to the wave traveling through a spring. The coils compress and expands in the direction the wave is traveling. The second one is the secondary wave. The waves which reach the Earth's surface after the primary waves are called as secondary waves. These waves also scattered in all directions from the focus of the earthquake. Secondary waves travels at about 2 to 5 kilometers per second through rock, about half the speed of the primary wave. The particles lying in the way of these waves moves up and down in the direction of energy transfer. These waves can travel through the solid medium. They get absorbed as they enter the liquid medium. The buildings on the Earth's surface move up and down because of these waves. They are more destructive than primary waves. Surface waves or L waves. These waves are generated after the main primary and secondary waves reach the epicenter. Surface waves are slower than primary and secondary waves, traveling at about 2 to 3 kilometers per second. They travel in the direction of circumference of the earth along the crust. Students, you can see this in the video. These waves are highly destructive because the ground shakes up and down and side to side at the same time. Here's an activity, students. Hang a heavy bag or pouch on the hook of a spring. Balance as shown in the picture. Pull the bag down and release it. Observe the spring and note the movement of the spring. Now, students, what did you observe? We observe that the movement of spring moves in the direction of waves, that is to and fro. These waves which move to and fro, and therefore these waves are also called as forward and backward waves. This is similar to the primary waves or P waves. Another activity, students, over here we have observe the students standing holding the ends of a rope. If one student to give a jerk to the rope by pulling it up and down with hand, observe what happens and note the movement of rope. Now, students, what did we observe? We observe that the energy is traveling along a rope. The waves move along the rope by moving a section of up then down, which is just similar to the secondary or S waves. Last activity, students, over here. Now spread rangoli on a large plate. Flick on the lower side of the plate slightly with your fingers. Observe what happens. Now, students, what did we observe? We observe that when we flick on the lower side of the plate slightly with our fingers, we observe that the powder on the plate fly up along the circumference of the dish, which is similar to the surface waves or L waves. Students, as we know that earthquake is sudden violent shaking of the ground due to internal movements in the earth crust. Earthquakes of high magnitude are capable of large scale destruction. The effects of earthquakes on the earth's surface and human life are as follows. First, cracks and fractures develop on the ground. Earthquake causes landslides, which leads to sliding of rocks. Sometime the groundwater changes its course. For example, wells may get water or may dry up. Some areas get uplifted while some may subside. Tsunamis are generated in ocean. These waves can cause great loss of life and property in the coastal areas. In snow-covered areas, avalanches may occur. Buildings collapse and loss of life and property occurs. Transportation routes get disrupted and communication system collapse. Students, before we learn the concept of the volcano, here is the video for the introduction to volcano. As we know that our earth looks so peaceful from the space. But students, I will tell you that this looks can be deceiving, that is, it could be very dangerous. And as we go deeper and deeper into the underground, in the earth's interior, the earth is a very different place over there. It is violently hot. And this is our outer core, which is continuously floating, which is in the liquid form, and the hard inner core, the center of the earth. And as we know that the earth's interior heat has to escape somewhere. When these plates are pushed together or dragged apart, cracks or weaknesses allows the magma to rise up from the earth's crust. Pressure builds up, which then releases suddenly, causing the magma to explode. The heat escapes by surfacing, and boom, there's a volcano, which is the most explosive landform, which are able to eject molten hot liquid rock, lava, gases, steam, ash, dust, clouds of thick ash high into the atmosphere with devastating consequences. So students, what is volcano? It is a mountain with a large circular hole at the top through which lava, hot liquid rock, gases, steam and dust have been forced out to escape from a magma chamber below the surface of the earth. On the basis of the type of eruption, volcanoes can be divided into following types. The first one is central type or conical volcano. During the eruption, students, the molten magma comes out through a pipe like a vent inside the earth's surface. The lava spreads around the mouth of this vent when it comes out. As a result, cone-shaped mountains start forming and conical volcanic mountains are formed. For example, Mount Fujiyama in Japan and Mount Kilimanjaro in Tanzania are the best example of central type of volcanoes and conical volcanoes. During eruption, when the magma comes out not from a single vent but from many cracks, that is fissures, it is called fissure type volcanic eruption. The molten material coming out with the eruption spreads on both the sides of the fissure. As a result, volcanic plateaus are formed. The best example is the Deccan Plateau of India, which has also been formed due to such type of a volcanic eruption. So students, as we know that when hot, solid, liquid and gaseous material are thrown out from the mantle of the earth onto the surface of the earth, it is called volcanic eruption. According to the periodicity of volcanic eruption, there are three types of volcanoes. They are, first one, active volcanoes. Now these volcanoes in which the volcanic eruptions take place regularly even in today's time are called active volcano. For example, Mount Fujiyama in Japan and Mount Stromboli in Mediterranean Sea. When a volcano has not erupted since long but become active suddenly is called dormant volcano. For example, Mount Katmai in Alaska, Barren Island in India. Those volcanoes which have not erupted in the past since long and are not likely to erupt in the future are called as extinct volcanoes. For example, Mount Kilimanjaro in Tanzania. The effects of volcanic eruptions are disastrous. Some of them are as follow. Volcanic eruptions lead to massive loss of life and property. Sometimes tsunamis get generated due to volcanic eruptions that occur below ocean. Dust, smoke, ash, gases, water vapor, etc. remain in the atmosphere for a long time. This may create imbalance in the environment. Land may become fertile due to volcanic ash. Many minerals are found near the earth's surface because of lava. New land is formed due to volcanic eruptions, or at times an island may even disappear. Lakes are formed at the mouth of the craters of dead volcanoes when rain water accumulates in them. So students, here we have a world map representing plates, earthquake zones and volcanoes. As you can see in the index on the left hand side corner, symbol representing black line, that is plate consuming margins, blue line plate creating margins, pink dotted marks representing earthquake zones, pink triangles volcano. So now major plates which are showed in green color, we have Indo-Australian plate, African plate, Eurasian plate, North American plate, South American plate, Pacific plate, Antarctic plate. So in total we have 7 major plates. Minor plates which are shown in black color, that is Caribbean plate, Cocos plate, Nazca plate, Scotia plate, Somali plate and Arabian plate. So in total we have 6 minor plates. So as we look and understand that the plate boundaries are directly related to areas of earthquakes and volcanoes. Most of the volcanoes which are shown in pink triangles are located on the plate boundaries. Similarly, the earthquake zones which are represented on the map as a pink dotted marks. You can see the students. So similarly, the earthquake zones are also seen in the border areas. The part of the plate boundaries which slides under the crust subdues. There is loss of material. Such boundaries are called plate consuming, that is subduction boundaries. In areas where new material is coming up onto the earth crust, they are called plate creating, that is constructive boundaries. Both the process happen continuously. They are shown in the map. So students, let's have a recap of what we studied. We studied about the sudden movements, that these movements are those which bring abrupt changes on the earth's surface. The changes are so sudden that the part of the land may be fractured, river may change its course and a new land feature may be formed. Earthquake and volcanoes are the best example of the sudden movements. We studied that the movement of the earth crust due to sudden release of energy is called an earthquake. The point below the earth's surface where energy is released during an earthquake is called the focus of the earthquake. The point located on the surface of the earth nearest to the focus is called the epicenter of the earthquake. We also studied about the seismograph, the instrument which is used to measure earthquake. We also studied about the seismic waves. We know that the earthquake waves are also called the seismic waves. The seismic waves are the waves which caused by sudden breaking of rock within the earth or an explosion. Seismic waves are of different kinds and they all move in different directions. The seismic waves can be divided into primary waves, secondary waves and surface waves. Volcanoes, the process in which hot, solid, liquid and gaseous material are thrown out from the mantle of the earth onto the surface of the earth, is called volcanic eruption. On the basis of their type of eruption, volcanoes can be further divided into central type of volcano or fissure type of volcanoes. Thanks students for watching the video, and I hope that you like the video. Thank you.